Welcome to the PMIS. We are going to analyze requisitions for the 2016-17 biennium closure. This is Carolina Sarmiento Navas from Procurement. So the first question we need to ask is, where do I find the instructions or the job aids? So the job aids are going to be located in the PAHO Meet. Then when we go inside the job aids, the first thing we see is they're going to talk about cost centers doing the analysis. But we also need region buyers cooperating with this analysis. So here is when we ask cost centers and region buyers to take a look of this job aid, go into the scenarios, and run the reports for the analysis. We also talk about program budget and no program budget. And we need to understand what is the difference between both of them. There are certain classifications and certain limitations, and we are going to talk about in the next slides. The report that you will need to use is the Pro 519, open requisition lines with commitment amount remaining. This report will allow you to analyze the requisitions and if you need to take certain actions. There is a link inside the job aid that you can click inside the job aid, and it will take you to the PIB where all the list of the program budget and non-program budget is located. That will be necessary for your analysis. So let's talk about program budget, what we call PV funds. So those program buyers are biennium specific. It means that it cannot cross to the new biennium. And so it means that all those documents with these PV funds, they will go until 31st December 2017. And you will need to identify using the report which documents are crossing biennium, and you will need to take certain actions, which we are going to talk later on. Now we have in the other side, we have the non-program budget. Don't have biennium dependency. So those documents that are already created with these funds, with this type of funds, the non-program, they're going to be fine. Yes, they will cross biennium with no problems, and you don't need to take any actions. Within the non-program budget, there is one specific fund called Post-Occupancy Charge Fund, or also known as HO. This type of fund, even though it's a non-program, will behave as a program budget because it's biennium specific. So just keep in mind that HO will be part of the program budget. Remember, where do you look for the list of funds that belongs to each classification, or the program budget and non-program? You need to go inside the job aid and click in the link. There is a table with all the scenarios, yes, and we encourage you to go, and when you run the report, you need to go and look for a scenario 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yes. And within those scenarios, you need to check if it's a PV fund or a non-PV fund. In addition to that, if you have questions about the prepaids, if you have a prepaid situation, there is an additional job aid for prepaids, and you need to refer to that particular job aid. Mid-funding requisitions with both PV and non-PV funds are not allowed, yes, because we're meeting one that it will go up to the 31st of December and the non-PV can cross. So you need to reverse that. If there is a requisition in progress, you need to reverse that to the initiator and clarify the situation that mid-funding requisitions are not allowed. Now, to ensure that these requisitions that are right now in the system go against the 16-17 budget or 18-19 budget, there is something very specific that you need to pay attention to. The request date on the requisition needs to be on or before December 15 to pre-obligate against 16-17 budget. But if you want to use 18-19 budget, the request date must be after December 15, but no later than December 31st. And that will pre-obligate against 18-19 budget. Now, these days are not deadlines related to the closure, but is to identify which documents will roll or cross biennium. Important days for cost centers are the following. December 1st, you will have the new biennium budget 2018-19 available. Yeah? So it means that cost centers and region buyers, if you identify documents, existing documents, POs, SCONs, that are crossing, meaning the end days or the due days are in the future, meaning 2018, 19, yes, and so on. Yes, you need to identify them, and you need to send a new requisition to split those documents in two. And we're gonna talk more about it, in the report. So when you have this 2018-19 budget available, this is the time for you to submit a funded requisition to the procurement department. If you need to split the current document with a future end date into two. Yes. And so after these days, basically cost centers can create pre-obligations, and that's, for example, in procurement, what we call the requisitions, or obligations with 18-19 work tax, obligations such as POs and SCONs. Yes. However, we strongly recommend you to keep these transactions at the minimum. So if you can wait to submit for a new purchase order or a new supplier contract in 2018, just wait, and you can submit your requisition in January or February. And for that, we will recommend you to refer to the JOA creating 2018-19 requisitions in December 2017 for more details. Now let's talk about the last day to submit funded requisitions, and it's basically December the 8th, and it's going to be for 16-17 PPTs. And this is crucial. So you cannot submit any requisitions, yes, funded requisitions, 16-17 PPTs after December the 8th, please. So start planning right now and submit all of them before that. Now the last day to submit funded requisitions with 18-19, because you're gonna have them available on December the 4th, yes, in here, it's gonna be December 15. So that's the last day for you to submit funded requisitions with 18-19 PPTs. And those might be for a prepaid situation, yes, that we might need to do it in December. That will be another, if you have to split documents in two, because the program budget, the existing document has program budget and cannot cross biennium, you have to split it into two documents. That will be those cases that you will use the 18-19 PPTs in December, yes? For the rest of the things, you might hold it, you can wait until January. Funded requisitions must be successfully completed and or sourcing to POs by December 22, yes? So that's the last day for you to have everything done. We shouldn't see requisitions in progress. We shouldn't see purchase order in progress or approved. They must be issued. And we cannot see SCONs, yes? If any type or if there is an amendment, they cannot be in progress or in amendment in progress. They have to be approved, those discounts. Now, PV funds with 16, 17 PPTs, those goods and services must be delivered by 2017, meaning this year, yes. PV funds with 18, 19 PPTs, goods or services must be delivered in 2018, yes. Non-PV funds with 16, 17 PPTs, those goods and services can be delivered within this year or the following. Non-PV funds with 18, 19 PPTs, those good lines and service lines, must be delivered in 2018. Now here is the report. Yes, and the report that you are going to use for the analysis of the requisitions is the Pro 519. Yes, and so we invite cost centers, yes, and procurement departments which they are the region buyers in procurement, meaning headquarters, and country offices to run the report and analyze each scenario explained on the table. You remember the scenarios? And each audience, meaning cost centers, for example, they will filter by the cost center. Yes? So they will filter, for example, by ITS, CHA, yes, by the cost center, and follow the filters and actions provided inside the job aid. Inside the job aid, you will find how to run the report, yes, and for the procurement department, there is very specific options on how to run this report for certain analysis, because they cannot leave any remaining amounts on a funded requisition that is fully successfully completed and sourced into a PO. So it is crucial for the procurement department to refer to the job aid to find those filters and actions, yes, and they will filter by the region. So based on the results, when you run and get the results from the report, we always ask you, go to the table and find those applicable scenarios. Cost centers must verify if the funded requisition is awaiting action by somebody, and you need to follow up. Remember, you need to push those requisitions, those funded requisitions, to move into the region buyers so they can fully source those requisitions into purchase orders. Regions, you must take the necessary actions within the schedules, yes, and go to the table 1 to refer to the scenarios. Key points about this job aid is that cost centers and region buyers must review this job aid. It's providing detailed information that we are not able to cover here, but it is inside the job aid. Run the report Pro 519 for open requisition lines and verify each scenario inside those tables. Remember that fully sourced requisitions into purchase orders must not have any remaining amounts, so you need to close them. Review your deadlines. Submit requisitions for a new PO or con. Yes, there are deadlines for that. Yes, and last day to issue all purchase orders. That's gonna be December the 22. Yes. Document day on POs. Yes, to affect the 2017 budget. You need to be very careful with that, because if we are going to talk about 2017 budget, the document date must be on or before 15 December. And if you want to affect the 2018 budget in a purchase order, the document date on that PO must be after December 15, but not later than 31st December. Thank you. Bye.